Welcome to lesson 2. Huh. I look a little funny in this camera today. I need a haircut. Is this the greatest exercise in human history? Is it the best male exercise for overall voice development ever? It's definitely top 3. Thank you, Mark Oswald, for teaching me this exercise. He had 5 or 6 staples. We're going to cover most of them over the course of this series, but I want to start with one that is going to be both useful for teachers to employ and also you as a singer to employ. It uses all 5 vowels. It's musical exercise. It practices going from closed to open vowels, and it practices one of the most difficult skills in operatic singing, or just singing in general, which is coming from a closed vowel that's higher or higher register and having to open back up into a full, a brighter, less covered sound in a lower register. The exercise goes like so. Okay? 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 3, 4, 6, 4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 1. And the vowel scheme is A, I, A, I, A, O, E, U, E, U, E, U, ah. Okay? Now, Mark Oswald, he didn't actually like this exercise, I think, as much as I did, even though it's one of his top 5 or 6. I think it can be used in more parts of the voice than he does, I think. I would have to sit down and talk to him about it. But I think you can take it up all the way. I think you can take it up maybe 90%. You can use it in 90% of your operatic vocal range. Sorry, it's cold as hell. I just came inside. I like to start about a fifth below my primo passaggio, D3, to get it going. So let's practice it. Now, one thing that it does super well is it trains your primo passaggio. I had to sing 2 ahs at the top of my vocal, my first register. Then I have to turn that sucker over on A natural. So already on this warm-up, which is light and easy, I would say, and develops a nice vibrating pattern, I already am working on getting a smooth primo passaggio transition on the ah vowel. And I can work on that bottom of the V, the EV, the bottom of the EV, on the B, the A, and the G. And maybe 1 half step down in this exercise would be the very bottom note where I would turn over that E. Okay? Also, with the A, I can develop a strong, covered, closed A on the bottom here. D, E, and F sharp are pretty low for a closed vowel. And I have a chance here to develop that closure. It takes time For a closed vowel to be powerful in your voice, you have to practice it a lot. And so many exercises that we're going to talk about aim at developing that practice. And this one encompasses so many of them. Now, when we take it on higher, you're going to see what happens with ooh. But here we have an three opportunities for a closed A vowel and having to come out of big open ah vowels to get back to them. This is a very advanced concept and advanced movement, but we're doing it within the context of a pretty short exercise. Like it's only a sixth. It's only in a sixth. Okay, and you only have to do it in like a part of your voice that isn't super stressed to get a lot of great results early. So if you start a fifth below your ah passaggio, you're going to get maybe actually a minor sixth below. If you start a minor sixth below, you're going to get all of your E turns, and you're going to get the most open version of your ah vowel. And then you go up a half step, you're going to get the first like must-have turn into the ah vowel. You're going to have pretty much the most open version of your oo vowel. Well, not really. You're going to be about a step short of it. But you're going to have a lot of open oos here. And that last note, you're going to have to come back out and rediscover chest voice. Let's go back over it, just so we have an idea of how beneficial this exercise is. Oh, also another thing, if you're a teacher, sorry to cut that off. If you're a teacher, you're going to discover the native tendency of your student in terms of how they conceptualize and deliver vowels early in their singing career. Maybe your student conceptualizes vowels as more open because of whatever, the way they hear things, their native language. And so maybe they'll try the exercise like this. I'm going to imitate a beginner who has maybe an open vowel conception. Okay, now you know, okay, he's thinking of all of his vowels as being more open than they need be. Now you know how to train him. Or maybe it's the reverse. Right, he wouldn't come out in awe like that. Now you know, it gives you such a master key in terms of the student's native starting point in terms of vowel conception. Okay? But here are all the things this exercise accomplishes just if you start below the fifth of your primo passaggio point. Okay? 3 chances at a closed A vowel at the very bottom of where you're going to have that A vowel turned. Okay? 2 chances at really the bigger open part of your ah V in chest. Okay? The F sharp and the G for me. 1 shot at turning it over into the beginning of middle voice. A pretty early turn on a closed O. Great practice for the bottom of the EV. And great practice right below the ooh passaggio point. Okay, like a step below. If you start this a fifth below, now you start at a minor sixth below, you're going to have the lowest E turns, and you're going to have the most open possible ahs with your A, for me would be A flat, or your lowest possible ah turn. Okay? Additionally, you have a chance to be very melodic. You can follow a pretty melodic line, I would say. And you have the chance to practice the skill of opening up the voice after you're coming from a closed vowel or a higher register. A very difficult skill. Let's use an operatic example to demonstrate this. Very difficult skill, okay? And one that must be practiced at all parts of the voice so that you can do things in more advanced repertoire in higher registers, because the alternative is a less exciting sound. It might be acceptable in that particular phrase, but over the context of an operatic repertoire, an operatic career, you want to have the big golden open tones as much as possible. I believe. I think the Merillian sound should be aimed at all times. The Nuccian sound should be aimed at all times. We don't want, if you're baritonal, we don't want C sharps, Ds, and E flats covered too often. We really want ringing, nasty, big dragon breath sounds. So, one more time on the first iteration of this exercise. Okay, let's take it up a minor third. That's real practice getting back out in the big sound. Also, it's great practice on how E's modify. I like to think of a Y. And you're going to have your first ooh turn on that B flat for me. And the A is probably going to open back up. And you're going to have to fight for that last ah sound, okay? Now all your A's are going to definitely be closed. You don't have a choice anymore. Maybe you have a choice down below there. Up here, you don't have a choice. All right. Can you take it higher? Well, that's kind of doing the same thing. Let's go even higher. Let's sing this F, the first major, a big major high note for my voice type. E is pretty major, but F is a different category. The F and the F sharp and the G for sure. Kept that one pretty turned. I did not open that one back up. A flat, for me, is a note that in that context, I think I would keep closed. It would line up better with everything that happened. Everything that happened is in middle voice anyway. So coming out into that open chest voice, would A, be out of sync, and B, possibly, it might be possibly technically impossible. But that particular starting point, which is a half step below primo, that pretty much gets every single note except for the B. 3 out of the 4 notes at the bottom of the oo. So the most pure oo sounds you're going to make in your voice. I mean, there's a better thing to do to cinch those low oos in there, those low and pure oos in there. But here you're forced to do it in the context of many other factors, okay? You can also do it the lower part of your voice. And then the exercise becomes part of the panoply of things to do with mixing all 5 vowels. Better to do it an octave up. Okay. I would say it's most useful 5th below the primo and a 3rd below the primo. Okay? The reason it's going to be useful in these places is because you're practicing many different events that happen around that passaggio point on closed vowels and open vowels. And those skills, that skill of being used to an ever-changing registration while maintaining consistent vibration and tone, is what is going to separate, but it's going to be one of the factors that separates pro singers from amateur singers. And being able to stay on pitch in tight nooks and crannies is also one of those skills. Now, the more advanced skills are coming out of closure back into openness. And, well, I guess you could say also a more advanced skill is just being able to play with that passaggio point. Like, am I going to keep the A flat open or closed if I start a minor 6th below the primo? I think I kept it open on that one. I did. Can I close it? I can. Maybe in that context, it's better to keep it open. But we know that a half step up, I got to turn it over. Okay? It is one of the best exercises, if not the best exercise you can do for developing just consistent vibration when chaos is happening around you. Okay? Closed vowels, open vowels, passaggio points, coming back out into an open sound, a different register with an open sound from a higher register and a closed sound. Huge issue in opera. Man, Silvio has one of the worst ones ever. God. No, it's not that part. That's the one. I think it's earlier. It's earlier in the duet. Yeah. The word is like partito or partita. If only I'd thought of this before I recorded this video. But that's a very famous one. Sorry, I heard someone rustling around outside. I got nervous because I was going to unleash a big sound, but I don't want to bother people too much. Guys, the point is practice this exercise. Start a fifth below your primo passaggio. All passaggio points will be listed below. Go up a third, minor third. Do it also down a half step. And I would say try to keep the starting notes maybe in that major third area. However, I don't think that there's anything wrong with taking it up. Maybe it's not useful to take it up to like the top 5% of your voice. So like, I don't know if it would be very useful for me to do it on F sharp, G, and because I can hit A flats and vocal leases. I don't think it'd be very useful there. It might not be super useful towards the bottom, okay? The bottom is, I think, maybe better in the exercises we talked about in the last video. Okay? But you're going to really start to build the strength and coordination of closed and open vowels around that primo passaggio point. Now, you're first starting, no vibration. How is it going to go? It's probably not going to go that bad. And if it does go bad, it's going to be because of like the native conception of your vowels, which your teacher or you, when you listen back to it on a recording, are going to be able to identify maybe better than any other exercise. I don't know if there's a better exercise to identify your native conception of vowels and your larynx's desire to sing vowels in a certain way than this one. Like if you want to sing vowels closed, and if you think of things as tall-ish and closed, we're going to know immediately. If you think of things as bright and open, we're going to know immediately. Okay, those are exaggerations, like every singing teacher models in an exaggerated way, because it's hard to imitate the minutia that's causing issues. But you're going to know those things, and you're going to have a lot of very useful skills that translate over into repertoire with this exercise. I think no matter where you are in your singing journey, this thing is going to be dependable. Start a fifth below, maybe go a half step below that, go a third up, and there's nothing wrong with doing the middle two starting points either. That's where I think it's most useful, most beneficial. Have fun, get after it. Know that this sucker is going to stay with you. This sucker is going to develop you from at a beginning stage, and an intermediate stage, and an advanced stage. It's always great to have this one to check in. It's going to balance you out. When you have exercises that blend all 5 vowels, those are the things that balance you out. And those are the things that I think can, when you go way off track, like look up Günter Grosbeck's singing as of late. Like get back to this blend. I demonstrated one of the other ones, that's good for that. Also a great one. But this, you're going to drag this sucker along with you through the journey of singing forever and ever and ever. Start now. You'll have no regrets. You will make faster progress by at least 10 to 15% with this exercise in your toolkit. Have fun. Get after it.